I think it's brilliant.
Thanks to Flexi Fi. Finance made simple.
Who knows what Risteárd's Russia is going to be? I don't even know.
See flexify.com.
Don't sort yourself out, Keith.
Risteárd's Russia. Here we are again.
Flexi Fi. In association with Flexi Fi. This is my audition for the voiceover, to do the series of the campaign for Flexi Fi.
It's very lucrative business.
So how does this Flexi Fi? Terms and conditions apply. Does that do it?
Very sultry, I would have said. More for an M&S food commercial.
Flexi Fi. Terms and conditions apply.
How has World Cup Week 2 been for Risteárd and Russia?
It's been very good, quite hectic. From an après-match point of view, we've been churning out the sketches, and there's, I was saying to you that we're on sort of a bit more often. We're not just a 3-minute bit at the end of the night. It's sort of dotted throughout. And we're on our toes. This time they have us actually working properly.
And how often now do you turn to each other and say, I've literally nothing left and I've nothing to say to any of you?
Around about now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's tough. I mean, obviously it'd be a lot easier if Ireland were there, and because it just kind of material writes itself. But I guess that's our job, to come up with it. But the fact that England are there,
surely England are the story.
Well, indeed. But I mean, and they're the gift that keeps giving, particularly in terms of their media coverage. And we touched on this a little bit last week, but just the fact that it's sort of like a badge of honour. It's kind of like proving your Irishness to be as anti-English in terms of like their football team, but yet at the same time we support all their club teams. But having said that, I think there is something to be said about Harry Kane. When he saw his afterwards, obviously really humble, and there is something really humble about him. It's unbelievable how humble he is, and obviously the crowd is fantastic. Really is great. But he was asked a question about the English supporters, and he said, "Well, actually, both sets of supporters are absolutely fantastic." So I thought that was kind of unusual, and. But of course, you look into his lineage, and the humility perhaps comes from the fact that he's from the west of Ireland.
That's true. Galway, good Galway blood.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But on Sky Sports News, they just can't help themselves, and I think that's what we as Irish people just can't take. It's the coverage. It's and breaking news from the England camp. Yes, here I am at the England team hotel. This is where the actual English team are, in fact, actually staying right up until the huge game with Belgium on Wednesday. The rooms in which the players are staying have a door which will be used to enter and exit, and a window through which light will enter. And unless of course they choose to close the actual doors, sliding door which leads out onto the balcony. And breaking news is that Harry Kane was spotted. Now these are unconfirmed reports, sunbathing with his sunglasses covering his eyes. So, these are unconfirmed reports, so it does increase the speculation that he was about to go for a swim. That's the kind of level that we've got into.
It's the worst job, I think, in media, Sky Sports News reporter.
It's got to be.
It's up there.
To be. Yeah, because literally they have to cover everything. I actually was looking at it the other day, and how many times can Sky Sports mention the fact that Harry Kane is the top scorer of the World Cup? And I did.
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. 17
times. In a 1-hour bulletin.
Is this literally?
Yes, and
factual, literally.
Yeah. Harry Kane is of course he's the top scorer, and if you could actually edit the bits all together, it's not just the one reporter. It's about 5 or 6 different people saying it.
And what about Beeb coverage or ITV coverage of England? It seems like the facade of, well, we'll go and do our best, we're plucky underdogs, is slowly but surely slipping. They're starting to hope. They really are starting to hope.
Can we dare to dream?
Yeah.
Gary Lineker was saying the other day, can we really dare to dream? I think it's possible. And it is actually almost like a sketch that they're kind of writing for us.
Yeah.
And Rio Ferdinand said the other day as well, it's like, it's not just great for England, it's not just great for the team, but it's great for our country. and it sounded like he was about to quote, Churchill. It's got that sort of.
It's heading that way.
Yeah, intense and.
Real not unlike Harry Kane there, if you don't mind me saying.
Yes, he kind of slips in. He slips in. He slips in. He did. He is in the same kind of vocal area. I probably should have left a gap there, done a few other people in between.
What are we making of RTE then? What kind of week 2 are they having? We've got the young guns, we've got the old guns.
Yeah, the young guns, Damien Duff is in there. He's kind of, it's kind of everything seems sort of fairly self-evident, it's like almost like what's the point in commentating on anything, because it's like fairly obvious and self-evident, like what's the point anyway, in even being here. There's a bit of that going on with him. He's very cool, isn't he? He's kind of looking, like looking the other way. Like, and it's just like, what's the point in even answering the question? But I suppose when the question is being asked by who, you can't necessarily blame him. But yes, the questions have been: will Brazil, do you think, prefer Damien to be playing Japan in the next round, if that were possible? It's hard to answer that question. I know it's Kevin Doyle as well. Kevin Doyle is he looks a little bit like an owl. Kevin Doyle, and sounds a bit like Dennis Irwin, even though he's from different. He's obviously from Wexford, but he's he's pretty good. He's fairly self-assured, I think. Talking and then of course I got what's his name, Shea Gavin, is talking so quickly. It's unbelievable. I was like an elastic band in his mouth. Absolutely incredibly quickly. Obviously, going to go to the left or right, you wouldn't really know. But obviously, if you're going to commit as a goalkeeper, go to the right. Obviously, you can't go to the left. Dean was talking about, like, when you're bouncing up and down, you're wasting time because there's a bit of a gap between when the ball is struck and when you might die left or right. But I mean, there's going to be
So they're getting on okay then.
I think they're doing pretty well, and I actually think, and it's not just because I was on with them last year, but I think Keith is doing very, very well. And I think he's very, very composed, and sometimes maybe the body language to his left and to his right may not be very welcoming, but I think he's holding his own. And he's also, what I've noticed with Keith is that he's developed a little Dunphy pout of his own after he's made a point. He's doing a bit of that.
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, he is. He's
but I have been impressed with him. He's great.
Oh no, he is. He's very good, and he's got. People have said to me, "You actually, I look like him, or he looks like me, given the age difference." But I think it's the hair. I think or maybe
that one hadn't twigged with me. But
what are you trying to say, Joe?
No, I'm not trying to say anything. You're both very handsome men in very different ways.
Thank you very much. Yeah, he's got very good bone structure actually, so I'm quite pleased.
He is excellent. I mean, those cheekbones.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I'm happy with that. Richard Dunn as well. Richard's only been on a couple of times now. I can't really. It's kind of dangerous doing him because I can't really kind of remember what he sounds like. But he looks like he has very grave news to tell everybody. I think he looks like he's in a very, very, grim mood most of the time. It's
ominous.
And yeah, that the what he's about to reveal is very, very gloomy. And it's something like, I'm not sure who's going to win, but I would say everybody better watch out. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, there's. I've always felt there's some interesting combinations on RT as well. Like George Hamilton talking about this is of course where Rachmaninoff wrote his Fifth Symphony.
Oh, George.
And then there's a bit of a pause before Jim Beglin might say, "That's right, George. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Rachmaninoff. What can you say? He's a great composer." And which gives George, when there's a dull moment in the game, even more license to go. And of course, Prokofiev is from this neck of the woods as well, and he's almost like on the verge of saying, "Join me for my Lyric FM show, which will be live from Moscow this week." But there's more strings to his bow.
than George's Lyric FM show. Sign me up.
Yeah, really.
And he's listen, it's a beautiful thing.
I heard
he's enjoying it so much, is the thing.
Well, he is. He absolutely loves it, and you can tell he's
enjoying it.
Arguably more in his element than sitting beside Jim Beglin or Ray Houghton in a commentary box. But I remember hearing his first intro to one of his shows on Lyric FM. He said, tonight it's classical music, and we're going to be listening to classical music like this. And then he plays some classical music, as if we didn't really know what classical music
Sample of the
might
genre.
sound like. Yeah. Brian Kerr as well. He's doing all sorts of, like, I think he's doing fantastically on, you know, the pronunciations of Gabriel Jesus. It sounds like he's kind of, you know, he's spotted something, or he's trod on something, you know, when he's, you know, it's Jesus every time he gets the ball. His pronunciation generally, and there's a kind of a stretched analogy thing that he does, where he's like some fella you'd see outside a chipper with a burger in one hand and chips in the other, and then the ball comes over to him and he's not expecting it because he wants to eat the chips and the burger. And you're going, really? Yeah, I didn't quite get that now from that particular incident.
Yeah, he's the people's champion.
He is.
I mean,
he
he has won this World Cup, hasn't he?
I think so. I think so.
Anyway.
He always has an interesting angle on things, for sure. There's. I haven't actually seen much of the. I'm not sure who's doing the ITV co-com. Do you? Is there?
Ali McCoist is doing some with
Oh,
John
right.
Champion.
Yeah. Right. I haven't spotted much.
I don't have the ITV thing.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's
I don't
it's
either.
an issue.
So we should really stick to RTE and BBC, therefore. But there's some there's the old protagonists as well on the RT panel, like Liam and Eamon. They've over the years they've become more and more in cahoots, you feel, you know, and particularly since John has left. There's, you know, anyone who's new to the pack, they even emphasise more that they agree with each other. You know, yeah, it's like Eamon says, I think, you know, and then he'll go on and make his point, which could be actually quite a different point. But Eamon's not going to disagree with him. Chippy said he'd agree with me, so he likes it. What I've noticed as well is, and Gary will probably back me up on this, who does Eamon more than I, you know, but it seems to be, with his new teeth, there seems to be a bit more of a gap in his teeth. You know, than normal. His new teeth are from Argos. But he definitely seems to be a bit more of a air, you know, a bit more of a whistle in the, you know. And Richie, we're looking at Richie here at the moment.
So
Richie
handsome.
Sallier. Yes, another
handsome man.
Good bone structure man, and but I'm not sure have they quite, you know, have they quite seen eye to eye yet?
There is a
definitely
tension.
Yes, some body language that isn't in Richie's favour, I think. If you look at Liam there, he's in the middle. Not really, you know, they've obviously had a disagreement there. Liam is shaking his, you know, his hands in disagreement, and Richie's kind of looking away, and Liam won't look at Richie. So it's tricky for a new person coming into that, I think.
It's tough. You got to serve your time.
Yeah.
You're out and about. When's our next gig? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, we're live in Clonakilty on Friday, in Debarras, which we're really looking forward to. Not a huge venue, but and then we're in Westport on the 12th. We're in the town hall in Westport. Then we're in, where are we? We're in Greystones. We're in Vicar Street on the 14th. Yeah. And we're in the Pavilion in Dunleary.
Ticketmaster is the place to go.
Ticketmaster.ie. We'll be having a bit of fun. We may have a lot of fun. In fact, in Vicar Street.
Don't overpromise.
No. I won't overpromise. But we're celebrating 20 years, so hopefully we'll have some pals in the audience that will kind of, you know, give it a bit more oomph. People might be on stage and in the audience at the same time, if you know what I mean.
It's too much to even
how can we possibly capture it?
And contain yourself, but there may well be more RISTEÁRD'S RUSSIA next Tuesday. So these are exciting times.
There may well be. If you have me back, I'm chomping at the bit here.
He's ready. Put him in, coach. Football shows on the way next. Pat and Evan will talk about the fact that Argentina are through against all odds.
Listen live or listen back. The News Talk app is News Talk in your pocket. Download it now.
Bruce Betting are one of Ireland's leading bookmakers. Download the iOS app today to see why Bruce Betting are giving you more for World Cup 2018. Bruce Betting, your World Cup bookmaker. In store, online, and now on your phone. Please gamble responsibly. See dunlewy.net.
It's the challenge of a lifetime. How to make business meetings more interesting. Guess what? We met it at the Red Cow Moran Hotel. Our 14 new meeting rooms stand out from the crowd. We've designed luxurious, innovative spaces to cultivate creativity and defy boredom. From now on, meetings will never be the same again. Stand out from the crowd at redcowmoranhotel.com.
There's a new place to buy Peugeot in Dublin, Sandyford Motor Centre. Call in today and test drive the 182 Peugeot range. If you're in the market for a new van, check out our award-winning partner, Expert and Boxer range. Visit sandyfordmotorcentre.com for more details. Sandyford Motor Centre, the new home for Peugeot in Dublin.
On 106 to 108 FM and at newstalk.com. This is News Talk.
Good evening, I'm Tom Swift. Fianna Fáil has decided not to put forward a candidate if President Michael D. Higgins decides to run for a second term. The party will support him if he opts to go for another 7 years at the Áras. Our political correspondent Sean Defoe has been following the story.